Hi, my name's Phil Flores, and this is my beautiful wife, Christina Flores. We've been married 22 years now. We have 6 kids. We were a blended family. I married my beautiful wife with 3 kids. I had one. I grew up in Pilsen, 18th Street. Met my wife in a bar in her neighborhood, and she can tell you where that was.
I grew up in Bridgeport, and yes, I definitely met my husband at a bar on Archer Avenue. And we started dating. We dated for we were friends for 2 months. We started dating, and we got married October 16th, 1999. We have 6 children. Like my husband said, he had one, I had 3, we had 2 girls together. We have 5 beautiful granddaughters.
Yes. Yes.
And we're here to share with you today
What God has done with our marriage.
And I think when I think about that and I think about what God has done in our marriage, I think about covenant. We weren't raised with a covenant. We didn't know what a covenant looked like. Never even knew it was in our vows. Didn't know that our marriage was a covenant. And when we came to the Lord was in February 3rd, 2002, and God shifted. He shifted our perspective. He shifted our marriage. He shifted the way we were thinking.
But even before that, we were on. We got married, and we were having issues, some real issues about marriage, because we didn't know. Like my wife said, I come from a broken home. My mom and dad were both alcoholics, and again, I didn't know what a marriage was. And so when we brought that into our marriage, we were married maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years before.
Before we already were going to see a divorce, when we actually seen a divorce attorney.
Yes.
And we were going to get divorced. This was right before 2002, and we were just together because I just had I was pregnant with our youngest daughter, and we stood together. We said, we're just going to stay together, and he's going to just put us in a house, and he's going to leave. Yeah. Because the alcoholism, the drug addiction, definitely no unity, definitely
no respect.
Honoring, no respect. And so but God had other plans. Amen. Because Amen. In 2002, our oldest daughter had an AVM in her brain.
An aneurysm.
And another word is an aneurysm, and it burst. And when it burst,
our lives changed.
Our lives really changed for the good. And when I think about that, I think about Romans 8:28. All things work for the good of those who love Christ. And that's what happened that day. The transformation that God did was a recommitment in my life. A transformation that
I took was to commit my life to the Lord. And it's funny, my wife mentioned that, is because while we were in the waiting room, in the emergency room, my wife was on one end of the hallway, and I was totally on the opposite end. And I was asking God, what did you want from me? What can I do to help save my daughter's life?
And I was on one end of the hospital asking God, literally feeling like Amazing Grace, like that was the day I believed. And we didn't know that we were praying the same thing, that I would honor him.
And I would follow him.
And from that day forward, we dived into fusion. And we started going to fusion group. And we stopped here on and off because Phil was back and forth to Iraq. But we've been involved with fusion literally 20 years.
20 years now.
We had amazing mentors who invested in us, and not just one set of mentors. We had pastors invest in us. We still have people investing in us that we can go to. But I have to say, coming back to what changed in our marriage, what changed and how did God change us, was that we fought for a marriage. We fought to be where we are right now, out of obedience to Christ, out of learning that we couldn't do it on our own. Our transparency.
And what God's intentions were for a marriage. We didn't know any of this, and and when we started to learn more, we started to understand God's intention for marriage and what we needed to put in. People can talk to you all they want to. It's a matter of how you're going to go and address, do you really want to save your marriage? Do you really want to work on your marriage? And Christina and I found this out through our mentoring, through surrounding ourselves with godly people, godly couples, and helping us through our relationship. Mm-hmm.
And even through our parenting, and even as grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know these things. They don't come with titles. We don't know how to be wives. We don't know how to be husbands. We don't know how to be parents. We don't know how to be grandparents. But it's literally, I see it just like clear as day. It's a submission out of reverence to Christ. Lord, I submit myself. I submit my marriage because I want to learn the right way. I want to learn His way, because my way, it's failed. The ways that was, when I think about the enemy's plans that he had for us was not this way at all.
No. He
wanted us divorced. He wanted us to have just kids all over. And again, I'm not knocking that, because I know that I was a single mom with 3 kids at the age of 25. I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm not knocking that there aren't circumstances. But what I am saying is, we could have given up a long time ago, but we didn't, because we wanted to learn what a marriage was and how God changed our marriage.
And also breaking those cycles of where we came from, showing our children what marriage is supposed to be like through the church, through New Life. And now that they're all older, they're grown up, unfortunately, they do make their own choices now, and all we can do now is continue to pray for our children, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes and not follow the mistakes of what we've done. Yeah. But we gotta honestly say that without God, we wouldn't be sitting here together in our relationship, in our marriage. Yeah. I did want to share something real quick with you. Malachi 2:15, it says, "Didn't the Lord make you one with your wife? In body, in spirit, are you His? And what does He want? Godly children from your union? So guard your heart, remain loyal to your wife of your youth, for I hate divorce, says the Lord, the God of Israel. To divorce your wife is to overwhelm her with cruelty, says the Lord of heaven's arms. So guard your heart, do not be unfaithful to your wife." And I read this because when we were about to end our marriage, that's where that divorce came in. And ever since then, we've never spoke of that word divorce until that verse that I found. And
Yes. We don't talk about divorce. We don't say divorce. We don't say the D word. But I won't lie, it was said in the beginning of our marriage, because, again, I didn't know how to treat a marriage. I didn't know how to be married. And I thought it would be an easy way to run away. So if I just say, you know what, I'm just gonna divorce and just be done, because I'm just so used to running, and the conviction and God just saying, you continue to say that in your marriage, it's gonna happen in your marriage because you're speaking it. And we don't realize, I never realized the power of my tongue. And I really thank the Lord for the meekness that he definitely has grown. But I want to share one thing. I know I quoted a verse earlier, but it was a different one. But one of the verses that was first given to us, February 3rd, 2002, is one that we're going to speak about. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. I know I didn't quote the whole thing, but this was our verse, February 3rd. He took a place of a brokenness in us, and not even knowing. We didn't even know, we didn't believe, but exactly what he said, called according to his purpose for them. We were called that day. You're called that day, the day that you choose.
So husbands, don't give up. Pray for your wives. Seek the Lord. Ask God what he wants you to do. And don't even speak of that word anymore.
Yeah, and wives, I say, find out what a marriage is and find out what you want to fight for your marriage. Fight for your marriage. Don't just give up. Don't just cop out. I know that we've been betrayed. I'm sure there's women that have been betrayed, women who have been hurt. And I'm sitting there right with you, sisters. But I'm letting you know it is worth fighting for your marriage with Christ in the center. Just like always, bring him to the center and you run to the cross. Don't wait for your husbands to run to the cross first. Run to the cross first.
Men, stand up for your marriage. Stand up and be the leader that God calls you to be.
Yeah.
God bless.